Now the sun is just starting to climb up over the treetops. And it's gonna be a beautiful day, that's plain to see.
Welcome to Bill Dance Outdoors, America's most popular and longest running TV fishing show.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.
Traditionally, bass fishing has been a shoreline affair. Even deepwater structure fishermen make quite a few visits to this inviting form of landscape. You know, there's just something exciting about working along the bank, especially when you're fishing it with a topwater lure. Perhaps it's a constant anticipation that the little dark notch between the bush and that stump next to it will produce a nice-sized bass. Or maybe it's just the pleasure and solitude of being close to shore, listening to the many sounds and watching all the little critters who live there or close by. Come on, baby. Ooh. Pretty one right there. Yes. I mean, he got it too. Swallowed the whole thing. Look at that. He got the whole thing. Easy now, Buster. I mean, got it all. Easy does it. Easy does it. Boy, he swallowed it. Oh, there it is. There we go. I like that little bait, didn't you? You know, something that's very important for this type of fishing is pinpoint accuracy. Being able to drop a lure exactly where you want it to land is part of the fun and the excitement of fishing along the shoreline. And it's going to produce more fish for you in the long run. Are you going to hang up some? Yep, you sure are. But trying to put that bait exactly where you want it, you're going to catch a lot more fish. But this popper in clear water like we've got here is going to draw fish. So accuracy is not near as critical as it is in other situations. So if you miss your target by 3 or 4 feet or 2 or 3 feet, it's not near as critical as it is in other situations. Nothing is more frustrating to a shoreline fisherman than the constant need to ease into the bushes or trees to untangle a lure that's crocheted around an overhanging limb. Believe me. Yo! Coming right at me. Coming up. Whoa. Yes. Easy does it. Easy does it. Coming up. Whoa. Oh, I love to see that. Big old pretty fish you. Love that popper. Yes, you do. Easy now. Easy. A pretty one. Pretty fish. Okay. Bye-bye. Woo!
Bill Dance Outdoors is sponsored in part by Bass Pro Shops. Your adventure starts here. Rebel, catch fish anywhere. And by Mercury Marine. Go boldly. Today's Conditions Log is brought to you by Mercury Marine. Go boldly.
Let me show you perhaps my most productive retrieve with a popper type bait. Normally I have my best success by casting the lure out. Once it hits the surface, I allow it to sit a second or two, and then I begin working it with 3 short popping jerks. Then I allow it to rest again. In other words, the presentation is 3 pops and a pause. The presentation looks like this: a gentle pop, 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 pause in calm water, and a stronger pop in action that creates more sound during windy conditions. Speaking of action, let's spend a minute and discuss speed. Now, as far as the retrieve speed goes, normally you'll find that the faster, more erratic retrieves work best in late spring and early fall when bass are bunched up and aggressively chasing shad. At other times of the year, you got to alter your presentation to coincide with the conditions, locations, and the mood of the fish. Sometimes it's fast, other times it's slow, sometimes loud, but sometimes it's quiet. But I'll tell you this, in calmer water, they seem to prefer it with a quieter type approach. In choppier water, they want it a little bit louder. And the reason for that, it gets their attention a little bit better. They can hear it better. There are over 30 different popper chugger models on the market today, and believe me, they'll all catch fish, but some produce considerably better than others. You gotta always remember to experiment with different presentations when fishing lures of this type, simply because the personality of the bass changes so doggone often. What worked an hour ago may work all day, but it could change on your next cast. Once you find the best retrieve, you want to stick with it until you feel it's not going to produce any longer. Then begin again with different presentations until you find what works best. Sometimes it's as simple as a fast, slow, fast to pause, or a slow, fast, slow to pause. Can make all the difference. Hey there, buddy boy. What's happening? Get you a mouthful of aura? Huh? And they get it, they get it. All right, easy now. Ouch. Get that hook in my hands. What you trying to do? I see what you're trying to do. Easy. I don't know how many poppers are on the market. I think there's over 35 different poppers on the market, but I tell you what, all of them will go a long way to beat a popper. Hedden had one called a Hedden Chugger. I don't know if that bait's still made or not. It was a good one, but boy, this one right here. Everything about it, the way it sits in the water, the profile of the bait, the sound of the bait, the way the bait casts. It is really a good bait. Something else to consider about your presentation is the area of the lake that you're fishing. How the fish react to your lure in one section of the lake may be totally different at another location. There's reasons for this. It could be water temperature, water clarity, type of cover, type of forage, type of structure, pH, wind, depth, time of day, and even time of year. This is why you should always be thinking of that all-important word, experiment.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Quantum Rods and Reels, Mystic Lubricants, Lubrication Domination, and Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Today's show is sponsored in part by Stren, the standard of dependability since 1958. Lure Lock, turning the tackle world upside down. And Garmin, fight your fish, not your fish finder.
Today's equipment log is brought to you in part by Lure Lock. Their TackLogic technology locks your terminal tackles safely into place. 100% made in America. Lure Lock, revolutionizing the way you fish.
Talk about experimenting. It's not a waste of time. You learn from it. The more you do something, the better you get, only if you have the desire and the determination. Let me tell you another reason I think this little fella is so doggone productive. It's the only popper that I've ever seen that's made with a bait fish profile. It was engineered to sit down in the water so the entire popping mouth is sitting out of the water. What this does, it enables the popper to walk and pop so much better. The bucktail on the rear hook was designed to resemble a shad's tail. It actually expands in the water, forming the shape of a shad's tail. There we go. What's up? All right, easy. I'm up here. You liked that little popper, didn't you? Yeah, you did. How we doing? See ya. The lure we're using today is probably found in every bass angler's tackle box. If it's not, well, it should be. It's the original Rebel Popper, one that's been copied many times, but never matched. The P60 size like we're using today is 2.5 inches long, weighs 1/4 ounce, and it comes in 14 fish-catching colors. You know, looking back over the years, I've had a tremendous amount of success fishing this little guy. The way it cuts up and shoves off on the surface of the water is unmatched by any other popper bait I've ever used. And let me tell you, I absolutely love to see bass just blow up on it. And if you're like me, well, I bet you do too. Tell you what, let's watch some flashback clips of the little P60 doing its thing, okay? What'd I tell you? There ain't nothing like it. Seeing a bass pop a pop-R pops my bubble. And let me tell you, I got a show enough big one to pop. This is one tremendous lure.
Bill's question and answer of the week is brought to you by Lure Lock. Our durable tackle boxes will protect your prize lures and make organization fun and easy. Lure Lock, revolutionizing the way you fish.
Bill, like you, I use quantum smoke rods with micro guides. What's a good knot when using braid and fluorocarbon lines? Micro guides need small knots. With Stren braid, you can use from 30-pound test that has an 8-pound mono diameter. Now, my favorite knot when tying these two lines is Stren's Unity Uni. You can learn how to tie this knot on Stren's website. A great knot that's very small and casts exceptionally well.
Today's show is sponsored in part by Millennium Marine, a new class of comfort, and Motor Guide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning provided by Power Pole, the original shallow water anchor. Today's product tip is brought to you by Garmin and their GPS Map Series sonar combos. With advanced sonar technology like Chirp and exclusive Panoptix all-seeing sonar, you'll spend less time finding your fish.
Anglers looking for a way to make their smaller boats stay put in shallow water? Check out the Power Pole Heavy Duty Spike. The spike helps hold small boats exactly where you want to keep them. It also secures the bow of a bass boat that has power poles. Each spike comes with a nylon dock line and push grips to help you easily sink it into sand or mud. Need to stay steady in one spot? Spike that spot. You can fish there as long as you wish.
Come be a part of Bill Dance Digital. Join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Follow us.
There we go. Ooh. A good one right there. There it comes. Oh, that's a good one. Whoa. Ooh. Whoa. Well, he just barely got that bait. Pretty one too. Ooh. All right, come here, big boy. That's a pretty one. There we go. He's a nice one, isn't he? Okay, buddy. Time to say bye. There he goes. Woo! Woo! What a nice one. Alrighty. Okay, here's another little tidbit that'll help you with your presentation, and that is line size. For better control, a line test of at least 15-pound test or greater works best, especially when the lure is worked quickly. Even when the lure is fished slowly, lighter pound test line affects the bait from producing the proper popping sound simply because lighter weight line sinks faster, causing the popper to dig in. Something else that's important when fishing these types of baits is a comfortable rod position that allows for effective and effortless retrieves. Naturally, this may vary from fisherman to fisherman. Many anglers prefer to start with the rod tip high, gradually lowering it as the lure gets closer. I personally prefer to keep the rod lower during most of the retrieve. Okay, here's something. When it comes to rod length and actions, a good choice is a 6.5 to 7 footer with a medium action fast tip with a soft tip. Now what this rod does, it'll help you tremendously in working the lure instead of the lure working you. Ask yourself this question: does the lure require a tremendous amount of work and concentration to fish it properly? If your answer is yes, well, you're trying too hard, overpowering the bait, or using too light a line and too stiff a rod. As I mentioned earlier, what you want to do is use at least 15-pound test or heavier and a rod that has a soft tip and a fast taper and medium action. This action should allow the popper to respond and rebound between jerks and provide plenty of backbone for a good hook set and fight. Let me tell you, if you want to have more fun and excitement than your heart can stand, let me tell you, you need to get you a few Pop-Rs. I can tell you this right now, you won't be sorry. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching Bill Dance Outdoors. Join us here again next week.
Now I've gone fishing with Bill Dance today.